like to call this meeting of the Shasta County Board of Education to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. And Ms. Roberts, is it with us? Item 3 will be approval of the agenda, and I would like to call everybody's attention to item 10.2.1, which is our Whiskeytown Environmental School Agreement. Due to the government shutdown, Josh cannot be with us tonight, so therefore we'll be taking this to a future. Other than that, I will accept the motion to approve the agenda.
I move we approve the agenda.
And second.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the agenda for tonight's meeting. Abby?
Aye.
Jacob?
Aye.
Arthur?
Aye.
Jackie?
Aye.
Laura?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Teresa?
Aye.
And I affirm as well. Item 4 is public comment. Public comment for all agenda items and on matters that are not on the agenda but that are within the Shasta County Board of Education jurisdiction will take place during this item. Members of the public are invited to fill out a speaker card and review the speaking to the board handout available at the check-in table. Just a reminder, the board is not allowed by law to take action on matters not on the agenda. Leslie, you're up first.
Tonight, I'm here to be nice. I'm always nice, right? Okay, you guys have a large amount of money to spend. We have parents and community members who have concerns about their kids being on campus and safety and all of that. And we have a county board and other county departments who are willing to partner with you and work with you. And also, we have a massive school-to-prison pipeline in Shasta, right? Like, for fun, all kinds of crime, drugs, bad stuff with our kids. So we have an opportunity to work together. I understand that the large sum of money that you have to spend is a one-time thing, not an ongoing cost. However, if we were to dump that funding into school resource officers for every single campus in Shasta County that does not already have a program installed, you would alleviate parents, bringing parents to the table with trust for the board and the community. You would then give positive interactions with men, which will bring out your future crime, your future drugs, all of that. Because kids who have positive interactions with law enforcement make better decisions. They have that positive, otherwise they're getting what's in video games, which is negative. They're getting what's in rap music, which is negative. They're getting what's in even country music, which is negative. They're getting what's on TikTok. They're getting all this stuff that is like, oh, the cops are bad, the cops are bad, the cops are bad, the cops are bad. Where if they have an officer that's there, doing spirit days with them, walking with them on campus, truly caring about what's going on in their life and their community, they have positive interactions. Our kids need more of that. So that would be my ask. I'm more than happy to tackle the details, set up the meetings, organize, and bring everybody to the table on that so that those other organizations could then look at budgeting in the future burden, right? Because you have a one-time lump, you're going to put it in, and then they would take on the scheduling of the future cost of that. So I think that would be a really positive thing and a really good thing that you guys can do to bring our community together. But we have school shootings happening all across the country, and parents are scared. And we have a recent situation at Pacheco, which I also need to say thank you, because Mr. Freeman leaned in pretty hard, and that school district did everything they were supposed to. They were great, they were amazing, they were wonderful. I told them thank you, but thank you to your office and the help that you had with it. But you have parents who now have legit concerns that this might be closer to home than we think. So that's right.
Thank you, Leslie. Sure.
Just two things. One, I can't figure out how to do the little clicky thing, so I need help from IT. And two, if we can have Mike direct Leslie to our resource officer that we just hired, so they can talk and share information back and forth.
Our safety director?
Yes, sir.
While Jackie's figuring out how to help Arthur with his laptop there, Darren Hale.
Thank you, President, board members. My name is Darren Hale, and I'm here before you tonight as a board member with Youth Options Shasta. Just recently, our director received an email that we would not be renewed for $45,000 in grant monies from SCOE for services provided in regards to peer court and helping our youth that get in trouble with law enforcement or on school grounds. We really value this program. It's really an essential program, and there's no other program like it with the peer court thing. I believe, Mr. Freeman, you came to last peer court. I would like to encourage every board member here to come to one. It's extremely enlightening. It really is like a court, but they're doing it in an atmosphere with other kids as jurors, and it's an opportunity to get them exposed to what can be reality once they're an adult with lesser penalties and stuff. So it's a really great program, and we need every bit of funding we can possibly get. And when we found out we wouldn't be renewed, it was a community Connect grant for $45,000. And so when we got the email that we wouldn't be renewed, that's a big hit. So we're committed to keeping this program going. We'll continue to accept referrals from SCOE regardless of the funding or the financial support. But we would like to encourage SCOE to continue collaborating with Youth Options, and we're asking if either that grant can be reestablished for Youth Options, or if there's another grant that SCOE has to offer for these services. We would greatly appreciate it. As of last fiscal year, SCOE had made 41 referrals to Youth Options Shasta. 7 were from Anderson Union High School District, 1 from Cascade Union, 5 from Columbia, 3 from EESD, is that Enterprise Elementary? 3 from Gateway, 1 from Junction, 13 from Reading Elementary, 3 from SCOE themselves, and 4 from Shasta Union, and 1 from Abbott District. In all of those referrals, every one of these kids got really good services through the program and really learned valuable life lessons. So as we consider speaking with our director, I'm open to speak with any of you also about securing funding to keep this program going. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the public who wish to address the board at this time? Seeing none, we will move on to item 5, which is our community recognition. We are honored this month to have Whiskeytown Environmental School, National Park Service, Whiskeytown Environmental School Committee. Linda?
As we stated in the approval of the agenda, we were looking forward to recognizing our Whiskeytown, our West community, and in conjunction with our National Park Service. But given the state of our National Park Service right now, we are going to be tabling the recognition of Josh and his team. But Melinda, thank you so very much. We can't do this without, we can't do this valuable work. We can't do any work without partnerships. And West Community has been, and the partnership that we enjoy with West Community has meant so much more post car fire. You've always been there in scholarship and support of our West program. With the loss of, with the damage done in the car fire, your partnership took on a new role, and you have become the principal philanthropic arm for bringing West back. And we just wanted to, on behalf of the board, on behalf of my team, we want to thank your team for the work that you are doing. And it's tireless, it's thankless. That is taking longer than I think any of us anticipated, but your team continues to show passion and commitment to bringing back West better than it ever has been, right? And so anybody that has anything, if you've seen the vision for what West is going to be with some of the renderings and the work that your group has done, it's something to be very excited about. We know it's October, and you have an event October 25th, and we'd love to have you promote that. But we just want to say thank you to all of your team, right? So Cassie Taliana, hey, breaking news, Taliana is Environmental Educator of the Year, Taliana. So thank you very much, and then Francesca as well. So if you could accept our token of appreciation, and then if you could just let us know a little bit about what's happening at the end of the month.
Thank you, Superintendent Freeman, President Brown, members of the board, staff, SCOE. Thank you so very much for inviting us this evening. With me is Francesca Huntsman. She is the founding member of our nonprofit. We were founded in 2011, back when we used to buy markers and galoshes and washing machines and other things for the campus, and reindeer, yes, and places to hang up the reindeer, many things. And this board would give us a wish list every year, and we would work through that wish list as diligently as we could. And with me today is our newest board member, and yes, Educator of the Year, Taliana. And so we are delighted to be here. Sadly, some of our friends on the board are traveling right now on the way home to Reading, and they couldn't be here this evening. Absolutely. We are very close to $5.9 million in donations, in grants, and pledges. And we're hoping that our event on October 25th at the Shasta District Fairgrounds, 4 to 10, that will be close to $6 million. We have $1.5 million more to raise beyond that, so our goal is $7.5 million. And there are 5 of us, and we're all volunteers. And we are immensely grateful to our community and the generosity of this board in allocating $1.8 million to the administration safety building, which was our big start. You gave us our first start, and your encouragement encouraged other donors to get behind us. And we're almost to the end, and we look forward to that. I can't tell you. Yes. Thank you, Austin.
Melinda, I was just going to echo that, unfortunately, we aren't able to take action on the $1.8 million donation to the National Park Service. But if you'll remember, this board took action on a resolution designating those funds back in 2023, right? And the reason that those funds haven't been provided to the National Park Service was because there was a whole lot of ground that had to be made up with the other fundraising, and it's because of the efforts of West Community and the incredible fundraising efforts that they've done that we're at the point where we're ready to provide the National Park Service with those funds, because they're ready to move forward with the project. And so just applaud all of the efforts of West Community and what they've done in the area of fundraising and supporting West.
West forever.
Thank you, everybody. Moving on to item 7, we will have a presentation from our STEM Academy. Excuse me? Six. Oh. Moving on to item 6. I can't count tonight, I'm sorry. I'll hold up. And we'll work with the second. We're item 6, which is board initiatives.
So we'll go through this very quickly, but because I'm excited to hear from our friends at RSTEM. I just wanted to follow up. Usually at this point in our board meeting, we were in a cadence of hearing reports on initiatives, and so I wanted to share out where we're at least a little bit of some of the takeaways from our September 24th planning day, and then maybe discussing some next steps. So to summarize, again, we were together all day, so taking 4 points to summarize all day is not realistic. But there was an interest in mainstreaming, in maintaining the board monitoring of our initiatives. It wasn't just like, okay, cool, literacy, that was a fun phase. Substance use prevention, that was a fun phase. Good luck with things. We want to continue to monitor that. We also discussed some of the pros and cons. We had a great discussion on lessons learned from our initiative work. One of them was that there were some cons to having two, and that there was some division a little bit, unintended division of ownership, division maybe of responsibilities or of priorities or importance. And so I think that there's something about shifting both substance use prevention and literacy to staff ongoing work and focusing on one. And where we left it was this idea of we had a robust conversation with other concern areas as we look at trends around Shasta County. Where we landed was doing work around staff shortage, and I hope that's everyone's memory. We don't have a robust proposal here tonight. Next month, we are, from here, between now and the next time we are together, we will be developing a robust plan to bring and propose to the board in this area. But really quick, on this first point of interest in maintaining board monitoring and of literacy and substance use prevention, I wanted to just remind the board, and maybe for those that were not able to make it, like, there was a moment where I was sharing a shared governance model from Placer County, and in that conversation, we landed on this idea of previous initiatives being focus areas, and those focus areas could be assigned to a trustee to keep the pulse on, and then to bring back and bring those reports. And so the idea is that we will be developing the focus areas for that shared governance. And then we had talked about using those prior initiatives as focus areas. And then if you remember, the next slide was kind of a cadence of what those meetings would look like, where a board trustee would be connecting with my staff on literacy, connecting with my staff, give me an update, progress on how substance use prevention is going, and then we would have that brought before the board on a semi-regular basis, if that makes sense. So I thought that was a great idea. I just didn't want to lose it. The other needs that surface from our discussion or from feedback that we've received after is this idea. We discussed math performance, behavior concerns, expelled youth services, school safety came up. Positive childhood experience, I thought, was a highlight of the conversation as well. There's a lot of emphasis and focus on ACEs. What can we be doing to be promoting positive childhood experiences? And Author, can you click on, or sorry, Austin, can you click on Author's email? So Author shared with us a proposal, and this was an email after the fact, and so this is not agendized at any point. But I wanted to make sure that I will follow up and I will share this out with the board. In the area of hope, in the area of positive childhood experiences, Author had some thoughts, and again, it doesn't necessarily have to land on an initiative, but I wanted to capture that thought and share it with the board here, and then in follow-up, I can give it to you in more detail, and we can have a conversation later on. If you can jump back to, but the idea is looking at high school, targeting high schools in Shasta County, giving them funds, helping them develop positive childhood experiences in high school settings was the idea behind author's proposal. And that led me to bring this slide back to our attention from our September 24th. Leslie, thank you for your public comment. We are looking at ending fund balance. We are looking at some surplus funds and how to be good stewards of those funds, right? I don't think anybody we are not acknowledging that all of our problems are solved in Shasta County and we don't have any needs. I think the idea is that we are looking from a SCOE team perspective, we are looking at a couple of different outlets. The first is that we are on a listening tour, listening tours like this. And Darren, thank you for your public comments. So when we think of what is it that we could add to our budget as ongoing, if funds were challenged that were used to fund great programs like Peer Court, and those funds are not available, then how can we have conversations and find alternative funding for things that are making a difference and having an impact? So working with and listening to our own programs, working with our district partners to identify ongoing services and expenditures that can live in our budget, right? Because you have our unaudited actuals in the budget in the packet tonight. There's a surplus. And so how is it that we can identify those things to be able to spend those dollars so that we are not accruing an ending fund balance that is, those dollars could have impact with students and with our partners. So examples like that could include expelled youth services, early childhood enrollment support we're hearing. Those are some of the things that are external and internal. In addition to that, we're looking at one-time expenditures to spend down our ending fund balance. And that could, we love the idea of some facility improvements, right? When we have conversations and we look at safety concerns, we are doing an incredible thing out there with the transportation building out in Caterpillar, but that's going to have a bus yard. And what does that look like to keep those buses secure so that our fuel isn't siphoned off and our fences aren't cut, right? So like having those conversations, and then also identifying the third one is just we have assigned allocations and we are doing the work, and in our first interim budget, we're going to be bringing back what these changes look like across these three outlets. So author gives us a proposal around hope and positive childhood experiences. We hear that. It doesn't necessarily raise to the level of an initiative, but when we get to first interim, you'll see fingerprints based on things that we've heard in the changes in those first interim budgets. We had talked about how some of our allocations that we've set aside haven't been touched because our revenue has been adequate, right? So if we have, for example, if we have a line item for succession planning with transition, 4 out of 5 of my cabinet have retired. With that succession, with that transition, there was some succession planning that was needed, and there was additional cost there because we were bringing in people to shadow and to learn and to do some of those things. Well, we had the revenue covered, so we didn't have to spend that. So when you look at the succession line item, it's not touched, and we can be better. Thank you, James. So all of these changes are going to be shared at that first interim. I just don't want things lost because you didn't see it in an initiative. I love the idea of a unifying initiative. I think as I've had opportunities to think about staff shortage, as I've had conversations with everybody that we're talking to, staff shortage comes up. In our own programs, number one concern on some of our department and division meetings is staff shortage. And so that is putting a pressure on the system, and Tiffany's over there nodding her head, right? We might hear from our STEMS report on the impact of staff shortage. So I think that there's some great progress there. On that front, what we're currently doing around staff shortage, possibilities and next steps, and we'll go cruising. My team has developed teachshasta.org. It's a remarkable website, kind of choose your own adventure based on where you are and where you want to be. How do you get into classrooms? How do you get into other school jobs? We've developed a website, and I'll share that with the board in my next update. We have a classified grant right now. So if people are in classified positions in school districts, we actually have partnerships, and for a minimal cost, they can actually get into a pipeline leading to a bachelor's degree, leading to a certificated teaching position. And so this was that program that Robert mentioned that he heard about at CSBA through Lake County, and we have this program is growing. We put the person, one of the directors in charge of this program in front of superintendents to try to help people understand what we have available to us. Some of the big districts have it, but some of the small don't. So if you have an amazing paraprofessional, if you have an amazing classified employee, they can get a low-cost bachelor's degree and then streamlined into a certificated position. And so it's as easy as that. And just for the sake of time, here's some partnerships. CSU Chico, Simpson's on board, National University and Reach University. Again, we talk about low cost. I think that's huge, right? When we're looking at the requirement to leave town, the requirement to accrue debt, like all of those things are deterrents to people becoming classroom teachers. And so there's some streamlined, low-cost nature to our partnership with some of our universities that's helping the cause. And so that's a little bit of where we're at there. On the bus driver front, you might have heard us say it's not just about certificated positions. We do not have enough bus drivers in Shasta County or in our neighboring counties or in the state. It's a nationwide challenge, right? So like here at Shasta County Office of Education, recent things that we've done is there is a stipend when you join, and the challenge we heard from drivers was that the training wasn't paid. So we worked with our association to develop a way to pay those employees so that they can participate in training, so that we can have a higher participation rate and completion rate in our training, and people can get behind the wheel. And then we're striving to do everything we can to have competitive wages. But it's not enough. It's not enough. Right now, we are saying no to people that we should not be saying no to. And that's a challenge, right? And our transportation director, we love her. She's amazing. Sam Dotson, he's amazing as well. They're not in meetings that we have with other leaders because they're driving bus. And they love it. They're passionate about it. They're amazing at it. But it is a strain on our system. So this is just an idea. This is just like the possibilities as we think about the dirt to dig in around staff shortage. We could be looking at throwing gas on what we're currently doing, right? Increasing it, promoting current efforts. We can be looking at new staff supports and in the spirit of retaining. If they're in a classroom and they're new and they don't have the skills that they need to control student behavior, that is a miserable existence. So what supports can we provide to new teachers? How can we promote retention? There's the residency model, right? Student teacher is one thing, but the residency model is showing promise where a new teacher comes along and spends a year with a master teacher. Not just the student teacher time, but and be as an employee of the school is able to be incorporated into other aspects of the work. I'm just tonight. Fire. Here we go. We're also looking at, can we get in, and Simpson University is great. They have an advisory board, so can we work with and facilitate those partnerships to be able to make sure that our teacher preparation program is spot on with what teachers need today? Countywide recruitment campaigns and events, championing school through recognition and storytelling. Every day, amazing things happen in our school. Carrie Schutte is working hard every Friday. She grabs 5 for Friday, 5 amazing stories from schools in Shasta County, and we're trying to help other schools, right? And so, how can we tell those stories in ways that maybe a kid is sitting there in junior or senior in high school and is like, I like school, maybe I could be a life changer and jump in. And when I say school, that is business, that is IT, that is behind the wheel, that is administration, health. There's all different aspects of staff shortage that we can work on. And then how can we advocate How can we tell Sacramento when they're wrong? How can we tell Sacramento, hey, the impact of that proposed legislation is going to make it harder for us to recruit teachers, so please strike that down, because that comes up from time to time. So next steps, we're in the process of doing a data dive, identifying vacant positions. We are the holders of the short-term temporary, so those authorization numbers, high-need positions, and then developing the proposal. We'd love to be at this thing for 3 years, 2 to 3 years, to have the commitment, and then that going to include in the September 24th discussion, we had talked about granting ourselves, right? So there will be a budget, there will be reportables, there will be deliverables, and a reporting timeline, and then we'll be sharing all of that with the board next month. And that's kind of the breakdown of what September 24th looked like, at least from my desk.
I'm watching the screen looking for somebody to ask a question. So, okay, well, then, Jackie, I'll just follow.
Thank you, Mike. Yeah, I'm excited for that update. I don't know why. Some reason I thought you were going to have the whole proposal tonight, and I'm thinking, wow, they are really, really good. So, I mean,
If you remember, I asked for November.
okay, yes, okay. So, so November we should expect like more a packet for. Okay, yeah, but I'm happy with what I heard. It sounds like everything was captured from that meeting, and I'm looking forward to going forward on this.
Sure.
No, I think we had a great meeting the other day, and we were able to discuss a lot of things that we went through with the board initiatives, and a lot of positive things came out of it. And I mean, it made me think of the positive childhood experiences. I'm glad that we shared that. And it's like we focused for so long on the ACEs, but never really came up with a great solution. So by giving those positive experiences throughout Shasta County, it made a really big impact.
Thank you.
And I'd like to get Jacob signed up right now, because I know he wants to be an educator, and we'll just do it.
So moving on to item 7 on the agenda, the presentation, our STEM Academy Charter School. We will receive their annual report.
Thank you for having, before we get going with introductions, I just wanted to say, welcome. You can see it right there. We're very, very proud of our My name is Tom, co-director, Shasta County, lifelong resident, West Camp participant 35 years ago. The last 22 years I've been a special education teacher, physical education teacher. It's been a really wonderful experience.
My name is Tiffany Doyle, and I am excited to be here tonight to share everything that our school is doing. A little bit about me. I started my education experience on STEM in 2017, and the school stole my heart, and I've been here ever since. I taught numerous grades there, and then back 3 years ago to study admin program, and I got my master's degree in cancer and for
Is that where it really started?
I actually started at Grant.
Okay.
All right, well, we are here to share with you the things that have been happening on campus last year, but I feel like in order for us to explain what's been happening on campus, we want you to see our campus. So we're going to start with a quick couple slides
rubber
It was
bands.
a really great project. So we're proud of all of our students. Last slide will tell you a little bit about our campus. We have a full sports program where we really encourage students to be engaged, and we also have yellow key clubs for our students. Talk a little bit about who we are.
And slow us down if you have any questions. We're going quick. We're going very quickly through this evening. Our mission is to develop curious and academically skilled young people who aspire to be principled and compassionate leaders through a rigorous TK through 8 college preparatory, personalized learning program with a focus in science, technology, engineering, and math. Reading STEM Academy affords its students the experiences, skills, and values that will prepare them for citizenship. Our programs strive to create students who are self-motivated, competent, and lifelong learners. Here's some quick demographics. And this is from our last year. Come back to you in a few months with all the updated stuff.
Before we begin, just as Tom said, we will be coming back in 2 months, 3 months, to do a charting renewal presentation for you guys, which will have a lot of the same information. So this is a very condensed version of what we want to share. Most of you will hear the same information twice. So this is a shorter version, but we will come back with more information, more highlights from our school. Did you break your slide set? All right, so what do we stand for? Let's look at our LCAT goals. So STEM's LCAT goal number 1, our STEM will maintain a safe, positive, and productive learning environment where students are meaningfully engaged in academics as well as a wide variety of extracurricular activities. We also need to increase our attendance rates and reduce our chronic absenteeism. It is a goal of ours. It is a continuous goal. Why did we choose this goal in our LCAP last year? Students struggle with being engaged. We need to fix that. Chronic absenteeism has been an issue for us for 3 consecutive years. We want to improve that. And students who were socioeconomically disadvantaged, we really struggled with them with our suspension rates. These are all areas of improvement, which is our LCAP goal number 1. How did we do with that goal? Quick summary. So when we look at our student pay,
Could you go back one slide? Okay, I'm noticing that students who are socioeconomically disadvantaged were identified in that category for this suspension rate. In a previous slide, you showed that 3/5 of your students are socioeconomically challenged. So I was just wondering if you're doing anything special. How are you addressing this issue? Yes, with that specific demographic of the students who have that disadvantage.
we are using a big part of our ELOP funds to support those students. So our students who struggle the most, we have found, are in our aftercare program as an extended part of the day. And so we wanted to use that kind of funds to impact more engagement in some of our programs. So when we got creative with our ELOP funds, we did create after-school clubs, and part of our after-school club requirements is we can't be suspended for my employed performance, and they wanted to have a these clubs.
ELOP is expanded learning opportunity.
Program. There's a pot of funds that we can use before school or after school to encourage student engagement outside of the normal school hours. Lots of schools use that pot of funds in a different way. We looked at our needs and how we can support our students in those, and we decided to capture their engagement through our clubs. Last year, our school hosted 26 different clubs with 239 students that participated in our saw that this was an area of growth, and we are excited to come back in a few months to show you how we are improving this.
And I noticed you didn't highlight my pickleball club. Highlight pickleball. Seems popular. Our LCAP goal number 2 is tracking our data. And we do that through our iReady program. And we wanted to highlight the personalized learning through that. Our intervention program is particular benefit to students who are struggling, including emotional, socioeconomic status, as well as our foster youth category. And our data showed that none of the student groups were in the orange or red on our outcome dashboard in math arts. And we have a visual presentation for you of our reading and our math goals. You're going to see reading on the left-hand side, and this is the beginning of last year. Not the beginning of this year, beginning of last year. And you can see on the left-hand side is our beginning. Right below it is mid-year for reading. Our at-risk tier, the top of the triangle in red. You can see that it shrunk. And our green tier 1 services are growing in the mid-year section. Our classroom interventions are really bringing our students up. Mid-year of last year in the reading, we move over to the right side. You have math at the beginning, and then right below it, math at the mid-year. And it's nice to look at the colors there. Once again, we see the at-risk red in both the triangles and the bars shrinking, and the green growing. So we are really, really proud of our teachers supporting the classroom and our support staff and our after-school programs. Yeah.
Mentioned the classroom interventions. What are those? What are your strategies there?
Well, I'm going to pass this off to our intervention coordinator, Tiffany Gordon.
So we noticed historically that our math scores are really struggling. So one of the things that we implemented is spring math. It is a foundational approach to building student skills in the math, early math, identification, division, addition. So we actually have 2 spring math days that push into each classroom for 15 minutes, and they run our spring math
Student leadership opportunities include Rocket Morning Minute, student council, sports, and serving as buddies in other classes our big kids put in.
We really wanted to strengthen our parent partnerships. So we are offering more programs and more opportunities for parents to be on our campus. Some of those include the ice cream social, the harvest carnival, award ceremonies, field trips, chaperoning field trips, helping with classrooms, and so much more. That's a little bit about what we do. Here's a little picture about it right before we jump into questions. So this is a little bit about what we were talking about, what it looks like on our campus. Top picture, we have some girls working on a club. They were doing jewelry for staff members. Down below, we have our social emotional curriculum. Once a month, we recognize students who portray the character trait of the month. At the assembly, we celebrate them.
We touched on it, 9 sports programs, so we are building leadership through our kids through all of our sports teams.
We have a happy campus. We have a full science program at our school for our junior high kids. Here you can see they were engineering catapults, and we actually tested their designs at our science night. And we have our 2 students at the top with the orange signs. That was our kindness club. They were out front of our school every Monday morning welcoming kids on our campus with those signs telling them they're happy they're here. Next picture, we have our math counts club, and we have a fully stocked makerspace room, and we have Ms. Jeffries there who plans great projects for kids and then leads them through the engineering process and finishes testing with their designs.
Thank you. I have 2 questions, and you can get back to me if you want, because I know sometimes my questions are in the weeds. So your SEL curriculum, I'm wondering, did you incorporate all 3 of those programs at the same time?
That's a great question.
Okay.
So our Character Strong, we're going to be implementing that. We do use that in every classroom, and then we also integrate it with PBIS, so that we're connected with the whole campus, and then we also celebrate Character Month. Preschool life skills, we're going to be implementing 3 of that. Executive functioning, we're going to implement 3. Our HOPE program for 6th grade, we actually developed that last year. We had a very, very struggling 6th grade class last year. They needed something based on our development data. And so our school counselor thought that up, and we just ran with it. It was successful. We'll implement it again this year. And then our EPIS, which is our junior high mental health curriculum, we're starting to do with that.
And then what measurables are you using? What academic measurables are you using to gauge, the effectiveness of the SEL curriculum?
We really refer back to our data, our PBIS data. We did partner with Shasta County last year, and we adopted Swiss so we can better track and better see our data and where our kids are struggling the most on campus. We use that data to see if our social
Author.
I love the pictures, but my question is pretty simple. What's your mascot? Because I was like reading it. Is it a lumberjack? It's
Rocket.
It's rockets. Okay.
Space theme, yep.
And then
Yards rock.
what is the saying in your gym? Because it said something about.
No, that was.
Uh-oh.
Oh man.
Tell me when.
It was really.
I know what he's saying. I
Okay.
know
Yeah.
exactly what he's saying.
Okay.
But we have to make sure Cole is not here. We have Cole here because I have many discussions with Cole. No, we were playing Reading Adventist. We don't get to host any of our games because we don't have a full gym. But it doesn't stop us. We've held outdoor basketball games at first. There's a little bit of pushback from referees. Kids have a lot of fun. And we're excited, and parents too. We do have a small field. We have started hosting some flag football games. It's the flag football team from last we're very grateful. We play in a league, Cottonwood Creek Charter, which just built an amazing gym down there. If anyone has been to Cottonwood Creek's school, but we're just as grateful when Reading Adventist hosts or Old Shasta hosts mini teams. St. Joseph's hosts. I just came from DC's soccer game. We played St. Joseph's in soccer today, and our full country cricket basketball played at Kyle in their gym. So we're grateful to be involved in so many sports and have this wonderful league and have that for our kids.
Question for Mike too. Is there, since they don't have those opportunities at their school, or is there a way that we have locations at our other school they can use, like a gym or multi-purpose room?
I think that would just be at the discretion of partnerships that RSTEM has established. Sounds like your kids are wonderful and they're welcome in a lot of different places.
A little side note. I see where you're going with this. A little side note. There is a large pool area next to where the last spring, we put a proposal together to see if we could change the vacant lot next to our field that we're kind of showing into a full-size, not full-size, but like 25 and 100-yard area. And the reason we picked it is because it's already been graded and we have the plan. So the hang up really is that there is a huge valley oaks out in the middle. If tree removal was there, and even if it was just a dirt lot, we would line it and we would host soccer and basketball games. And we could use it as an alternate space for all the schools, evacuation zones, including affecting traffic volume. So we did put that together, and we've been talking with Cole about it, and he did tell me, they just came from St. Joseph, and he told me that that isn't the only proposal for that area. Talking with the independent study school, they had mentioned that they had done a proposal just to have a gym back there. So I didn't know what everyone was proposing. And so, our families are awesome, our kids are awesome, we want the best for them. It would be amazing to have some facilities like that. But at the same time, we put it together and they practice and they play and their bodies are moving and their families becoming believers and yeah.
Jacob.
I had a question earlier, but I got answered about what that team was on the very bottom. I was either a football team, it's a flag football team. And then I had another question. What teams do you guys play for flag football? Do you play other schools? Do you guys play each other?
We have generally speaking, teams have been coming and going. This year for flag football, we have, and they're from all over the county. It's not just Reading School District or anything like that. We have, this year I believe it is Juniper, Millville has joined, Bella Vista was in our league last year, Marston, Cottonwood Creek Charter, St. Joseph's is in. It seems like it started with RSTEM and the very small St. Joseph's, Reading Adventist, maybe even Reading Christian. They kind of were a little smaller, but now it's growing and we're just seeing some of the outskirt schools are joining the league. We've played Junction, who's been in our league for flag football previously. They kind of fluctuate, the bigger school and the smaller school. So teams come
thank you very much for your presentation. I think greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, and you're all welcome to come out. We'd love to see you out there, see our people, see our facilities. It's a great place. And Carmen will be working with the board to schedule a visit.
Okay, and since we started at 5 o'clock, let's do the 2. Come back at 7:15. Moving on with the agenda, we will go to item number 8, which is approval of the consent agenda. Consent agenda items are action items that are of a routine nature or items for which no discussion is anticipated and are acted upon by a single vote. Individual board members may request that any item be removed into individual consideration. So, does anybody want to remove anything from the consent agenda? Arthur?
I'd like to remove 2.1, 8.2.1, credentials and oaths of temporary certificates.
Okay, so you want to remove item 8.2. And we would need a motion to approve the remainder of the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the remainder of the consent agenda minus 8.2.1.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the consent agenda minus 8.2.1. We will take roll call vote. Lisa?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Laura?
Aye.
Jackie?
Aye.
Arthur? Jacob?
Aye.
Abby?
Aye.
And I affirm as well. Arthur, you pulled item 8.2.1.
Yes. So every month we're asked to go through this list, and based on the history of how the county board was made, the new county board, we signed up for, not the CSBA, but ACCB. They had a really good historical thing where we talked about the history of the superintendent, and eventually the superintendent needed a group of people to okay this, and they put it in ed code where they would have the teachers authorize the certifications of certificates of payment to the county eventually through. So great history lesson. But as we look through that every month, what if we see someone that pops up there and we have grave concern because we know them or they have that history somewhere else or whatever? I'm just wondering, what is the chain of command that you would like us to do and say, I know that guy and this is not good, and I don't know how you popped up and made it on there, but I need to bring this to your attention, some situational awareness. What do you do in that situation?
I think if we were to go to the we would go to the item, we would see that the name is associated with a district. And so if you have concerns that regarding the professional standing or ability of that person to perform in a credentialed or certificated position, I would invite you to share that concern with their employer, which would be the district listed there. If I can assist in any way in that, of course I would, like I end my emails every time, if there's anything I can do to help you serve. I think we are the holders of these, but in a lot of these cases, these are decisions that are being made by districts with superintendents, with elected trustees monitoring their own hiring practices, if that makes sense.
So then I guess it would be if we came together and board, let's say there was something we all had a concern about, and we pull this, we say, well, we're just not going to pay that person's certificate. Is that something that we do, that we could just not okay one person on that list and line them out?
I think that would be a question that I would need to take to either lawyer or our HR. I mean, I think that we're not line item approving and vetoing the individuals on here. This is by consent. It is a routine in nature, not requiring discussion. I don't know if we have the ability to approve this all in favor, with the exception of and name an individual on the list.
I'd have to look into that, just because I will say that the education code section that brings this item to your agenda appears to me to be a little bit of a relic. Just because there's no obvious reason why county boards are still approving these temporary certificates. it's in the code, so we do it, which makes perfect sense. And so I don't recall ever hearing about county boards not issuing, or excuse me, not approving one or more temporary certificates. So I'd have to think about what that looks like and what happens. I will say that these are extremely temporary certificates because they're only good for the time that the person applies to the CTC. So they typically apply for a waiver, or they're from Oregon, and they are applying to get a credential. And the temporary certificate is only good for the period between when they apply and when they get the actual certificate, which is typically a matter of weeks. So the person would eventually get the regular or underlying credential that they are applying for to the CTC issued to them, and that would happen. So that would be something that's outside the field of vision of the county board and would be up to CTC and the employing district as to whether the person's credentialed and they want to hire them.
In other states and other areas, there's people that have just kind of like been kicked down, like kicking the can down the aisle. We don't have that in my line of work because the employer can report concerns and you probably just couldn't get hired across town. But I know in education code there is some kicking the can laws that either you can't report to the next employer. So that's my only concern is that someone might appear on a list that shouldn't be there because somehow it wasn't reported, and if it comes up to our attention, I would imagine because we're in the code, we have the jurisdiction authority to say, we're just not going to renew that.
We do have, so there is, effective January 1st, there is legislation now that does require school districts hiring human resources, LEAs, to report to the California Teaching Credential Commission of egregious misconduct. And so the idea is that if there is egregious conduct linked to any one of these individuals from other positions after January 1st, the California Teaching Credential Commission will receive that. Will receive that notification of egregious conduct. I think that it's also important to note that as each of these names are affiliated with LEAs, those LEAs would have, they are public entities and they have their, this name may be appearing here in our packet, but hiring practices with districts would put these names on district agendas. And if we had concerns about their standing in holding a credentialed position working with kids, then you could then find that district and voice your concerns through their channels. Public comment, complaint to the board, complaint to the superintendent. There's avenues there.
We're not liable. If we okay these credentials, are we liable then? When something bad happens and we okay their credential, are we liable for that?
I can't theorize a situation where you are because the board doesn't have jurisdiction over the hiring, supervision of people in these individual districts. So, it's a routine matter, as Superintendent Freeman says, to just affirm that the person has applied for a temporary certificate and the CTC will give it to them, is really what all you're doing. You're not affirming that the person has any particular character or qualifications, because that is eventually done by the CTC, and they won't get their credential unless they meet the various requirements of the credential side, which include payment of a fee, the appropriate education and experience, and the moral character.
I would be responsible for one person on this list. As the employer for Shasta County Office of Education, we do have one temporary certificate listed. But I think we can explore the question of if there is a concern and this list is presented to this board, is it possible for us to make a motion to approve with the exception of one person and remove that person's name from the list? I think that, Tom, would require some digging.
Jackie, you had a question?
Yeah, so Tom, the archaic code you're talking about, is it 44332? A county board of education may issue temporary certificates for the purpose of authorizing?
Yes.
So it says may. so we don't have to. So if we didn't, where would they get them?
They would have to wait for their regular credential to be approved.
Okay, that makes sense.
Further discussion? Jackie?
And I probably already said this again, but I'm probably going to say it every time that this is on the agenda or pulled from the consent agenda. It just, I mean, just to echo what you just said, it's an archaic ed code, and we don't even know really why it's there, but then we're asking to put our fidelity into it, and that's just a really uncomfortable place for a trustee. Tom, you've heard me say it all the time. I take my votes very seriously. If it's just ministerial, tell me it's just ministerial, but temporary certificates of credentialing are, in my opinion, a big deal. So.
And again, I think we are just, at this point, we are acknowledging that they have gone through the process and applied for the necessary temporary credential to be in a position, and that position is under the supervision and responsibility of other LEAs. So.
Further discussion? I just wanted to say one thing about this list of temporarily credentialed individuals. We're going to be working on staffing, right? This list is a potential source. People we could recruit and to become full-time fully credentialed teachers. Something to think about.
Well, and at the same time, it is a symptom. There's that.
Exactly. Okay, so we would need to approve item 8.2.1. Motion for that.
I'll make a motion to approve.
And second?
I'll second it.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve item 8.2.1. Do a roll call vote. Jackie?
Aye.
Arthur?
No.
Jacob?
Aye.
Abby?
Aye.
Teresa?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Laura?
Aye.
And I affirm as well. Moving on to item 9, informational administrative services. We have the general fund and early childhood services financial snapshot, plus the unaudited actuals for ourselves and 3 of our charter schools and our community foundation workplace student benefit fund. Does anybody have any questions on these items? Seeing none, we will move on to item 10, which is our action items. Under instructional services, everybody, I'm sure you recognize that we have the revised board policy and administrative regulation 6158, instruction for the independent study school, and we approved it last month. But Tom has informed me that we need to, Tom and Mike have informed me that we need to hold a public hearing on this and then reapprove it. So at this time, we will open the public hearing on Administrative Regulation 6158. And at this time, we will close it on Administrative Regulation 6158.
BP, board policy and administrative regulation.
Revised board policy and administrative regulation 61. Thank you. And now we would gain motion for Jackie.
So Tom, can you explain why we needed to have a public input on this policy?
The applicable regulation requires a public hearing. It just says a public hearing. And in the agenda item are listed 2 or 3 things that Claudia has put in there are the items that are under consideration, supposed to be under consideration when we develop board policy and administrative regulation. So the short answer is just because the regulations say so. And we have found in many other contexts, when the law says public hearing, then auditors and CDE and others say, oh, you didn't do a public hearing. And it's also, just so you know, surprisingly frequent for school districts and county offices to get audit findings where even though students are served and good work is being done, that impact study agreement or other documents aren't quite right, and then there's audit findings. So this is another technical thing. Appreciate your patience.
So basically, we're just checking all the boxes. Discussion? Then I need a motion to approve.
I move we approve board policy and administrative regulation 6158.
I'll just second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded that we approve revised board policy and administrative regulation 6158. Any further discussion? We will now take a roll call vote. Abby?
Aye.
Jacob?
Aye.
Albert? Jackie?
Aye.
Laura?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Lisa?
Aye.
And I affirm as well. Moving on to item 11, student board member reports. Do you guys recall who went first last time? Then Abby, you would go first this time.
Good evening, everybody. So it's October already. This is my third board meeting, so time flies. As we enter the heart of the fall semester, students are settling into the rhythm of classes, and seniors are beginning to feel both the excitement and pressure that comes with preparing for life after graduation. Coming from a senior myself, I'm very stressed. Yeah. So at our last meeting, I did share some concerns about a lack of post-high school planning among seniors. So since then, I am actually very happy to report that those concerns have been heard, at least by my school, and new opportunities are emerging for seniors to start thinking seriously about their futures. For example, some things that my school have done is we've hosted college admissions visits to give students the chance to connect directly with representatives and explore a variety of higher education pathways. These visits have been very helpful to seniors as they finalize their college lists and seek clarity on application requirements and scholarship opportunities. Also, at the same time, many campuses, not just ours, but everywhere, have hosted career and job fairs, which is also pretty important for people who maybe don't want to choose college as an option. Yeah, these events have been particularly meaningful for students considering alternatives for a four-year college degree, and also have helped broaden our understanding of what post-graduation success can look like. Also, counselors and college advisors also continue to provide critical support through application workshops, essay feedback, and financial aid resources. Students, especially those applying to colleges for the first time in their families, have shared how impactful these sessions are. Yeah, so in addition to college and career readiness, some students have expressed growing concerns about substance use on campus, an issue that I know is a priority for the board and Kelly. So as you can see, I tried to frame my report around some of the initiatives that I heard was being discussed. Yeah. So vaping, misuse of medication, and also access to substances such as alcohol and cannabis continue to affect student well-being and school culture. So I'm just mentioning it here to say that I would love to be a part of the substance abuse prevention initiative if we are continuing that, and offer my support in any way I can. Yeah, so thank you for your time, and I look forward to continuing to share student perspectives with you in the months ahead.
Thank you, Abby. I would just like to say thank you for reporting back. It's nice to see anybody have anything to say to that?
Abby, if I could just ask really quick, we had an incident happen in front of our offices in Magnolia where there were large cans of like a gas. It's it's a nitrous oxide, large cans, whippets, but like we're not talking about like your fun, like not fun, like misusing computer keyboard cleaner or whipped cream. These were large cans sold at smoke shops. Yeah. They were left there. We called RPD, but is that at all in your, when you hear of students and substance use, is this at all landing on your radar or among friend groups or peers?
Mostly, what I've been hearing is just vaping, smoking, like drug use,
Anything? That's good.
I
You're
have
hanging.
heard about that.
Oh,
yeah.
have you? Okay.
Yeah, in my schools there is, vaping and alcohol and drugs, but personally in my school there is not nitrous oxide. I don't know if any of you guys know, it's called galaxy gas. That's what it goes by. But I haven't heard of anyone in our schools using it or anyone in the community using it because it seems pretty dangerous. But if it's accessible in these shops, then
Very
that's definitely something to
affordable
crack down on.
and sold in smoke shops. And flavored, of course.
what I mean, what sorry, Casey. What I can do is I have friends on the substance use prevention board for Shasta County. I could ask them because they probably know more about that. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Jacob, your report?
All right, good evening, guys. Since our last meeting, there's been a lot of excitement at West Valley, and I'm beyond proud to share what's been happening. First and foremost, homecoming week is next week. We are excited, and we have dress-up days planned, and we're hosting Powder Puff on Wednesday on the football field. The week's going to be packed with fun activities and an amazing rally to end the week put on by our leadership team. And as we're just a few weeks away from that week, each class is preparing their homecoming float for our second annual parade through Main Street in Conwood. Our varsity football team is currently 4-1, and our most recent game against Enterprise High School was a huge victory. Our cheer team and band are crafting routines as well for our home games, and especially for homecoming next week. Our varsity volleyball team is undefeated in league, and both cross-country boys and girls are ranked #1 in the league. Our student section remains strong, and we're currently topping the voting of Record Searchlight's poll for the best high school student sections in the Reading area. And then outside of all the fun, sports, and spirit, students at West Valley are partaking in many opportunities. FFA tomorrow is attending the Shasta College Field Day, where they'll compete with other FFA chapters. And they recently attended and organized the Farm City event at the Shasta District Fairgrounds to teach young kids about the importance of agriculture. Additionally, last year, we started our after-school program, Eagle Vision, which consists of tutoring pods and fun activities that range from tutoring in subjects to all the way to robotics. And on the last Friday of September, we had 220 students in attendance, and we're hopeful and confident that it improves student success. Our staff are working incredibly hard to carry out our dreams and visions as students. In honor of September being Suicide Prevention Month, our 3 counselors hosted fun lunch activities and posted up signs across the school. And staff are also participating and helping us with our homecoming floats and making the parade the best one yet. And lastly, I know I shared a lot of fun things, but this month I sat down to write this report and asked students how they felt, and I could not find an issue to report on. West Valley is at an amazing point, and if there is an issue to report, I would say everything's going amazing, and I can't complain about that. Thank you.
What Jacob won't share is that he rejoined the football team. He has a lot going on. He stepped away, and the coach had other ideas and had persuasive ways to get Jacob back on the team. And you probably an instrumental part in the 4-1 in the victory against Enterprise. Sorry.
Well, in our meeting that week after you said it was going to be a safe, humble game. It was a safe game. There was a lot of bickering between us. There was flags thrown. But at the end, we actually all came together and we did our team. I don't know. There should be pictures of it. We did our team like group up at the end, all together with Enterprise and West Valley Police. What I was. So it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Thank you, Jacob. Teresa?
Yeah, it wouldn't go through when Abby was talking. But did you guys know that Mike Rowe has a scholarship fund that he's doing through the schools? Yeah. Make sure you guys let everybody know because he's got a pretty big fund out there. So I think he's doing $5 million a year in scholarship funding. So, and for somebody who doesn't want to go into debt right out of high school, but wants to go out and make money with a trade, that's the way to go.
Arthur?
Yeah, a couple questions. One for Jacob. On your football field, what do you guys use that area? It looks like food trucks or something that pops up.
Have you been over there?
Yeah, I was at a Pee Wee football game, and the snack bar was over here, but then there's like this cool student section where there's like some buildings right in the front.
We have like
There's
storage
lights?
units. Yeah, that's our snack bar. So we have our cold food and snacks, hot drinks pickup. We moved all of our snack bar from the back all the way to the front. That light part with the seating, that is our whole snack student area.
That's where I would like to hang out right there. It's very nice. And then with the vaping and whatnot, I mean, it's really bad. I think probably you'll see throughout the trends of this year, you'll see a bunch of people that are vaping that are going to the hospital with pneumonia. And that could be with our initiative for tobacco and whatnot and the vaping. We could share some of those things. There's some county data that we can get at the end of the year just to show kids like if you vape, you're increased risk of pneumonia, bronchitis, and all these other morbid things going on.
Thank you, everybody. Moving on to item 12 on the agenda, we will go to the superintendent's report. Mr. Freeman. Seahawks.
Okay. That was a rough one. It caught me by surprise. So I got out of the habit, wanted to hit you just kind of with a wall of good times. I appreciate the student reports, exciting times in the fall, and Friday night lights and all of those things. And best of luck to, I would love to know criteria for the choices that you have in front of you, Abby, and if there's any way that we can support you in your senior year and any stress that you might be feeling. I think you've got friends in us. You got friends in low places. We've just had all kinds of amazing opportunities lately. We did take over the Magnolia Park behind our building there, and had a staff family barbecue, threw some cornhole bags with families, and it was a great time. We also have a transportation building that has broken ground. I don't know if you guys have had an opportunity to be out in the Caterpillar area next to our maintenance and operations, but we are moving a whole lot of dirt, and there's some remarkable things happening there. We've obviously with our literacy efforts, and now they have book vending machines, which is always kind of cool. That's just a little glimpse into some of the things that we've been up to. But from our last meeting, I want to hold myself accountable. Last time I'm ending every time our time together with 4 things that I'm going to be doing in across the pillars and priorities that we have established. And I said I was going to establish a new board initiative on the 24th. I don't know if it was necessarily established, so I don't have a check mark next to that. But we did get some good guidance, and I think we'll be coming back next month with a great proposal. I was able to jump into the Substance Use Prevention Youth Commission and meet our new members and meet that crew. So, Abby, you said you had some friends on there, and they're going to be doing some cool things there. So we'll give a check. Meet with stakeholders, support partnership with Chiba for expelled youth services. This is some slow work, but I do want to thank our team on the business front, Claudia, thank you for joining me, catching up with the site administration and the director of Chiba, and we're now pivoting into specific instructional services that are going to be needed to be able to meet the needs of expelled youth. Also helping them join SELPA, right? As a charter, they were part of a different SELPA, a different special education local plan area. And so getting Chiba included in our SELPA is quite a process, but those meetings will be going well, so we're there. And then check marks just feel good. And then on the American Indian Advisory front, we had a great work group where we have established language instruction programming. It's such an important piece, the language. And so how can we help promote Win2 language? What does Win2 language look like for elementary schools? Are there class visitors? Are there some things that we can do in middle school and help people get interested in some of those things? Members of our tribal members of the American Indian Advisory Council, what are ways that we might be able to promote that language? And then looking at improving student outcomes and advocating. When we look at student outcomes, we are about, I believe tomorrow student data is public for last year's information. In November, the California School Dashboard will be released, and so we'll have an opportunity to look at what does attendance look like, what does suspension look like. I appreciated, Jackie, your question to our STEM, like, okay, cool, you're doing these things. What are you looking at for progress? And so we'll have an opportunity to look at those things. So that's a little bit of what's happening with that group, but exciting times coming for this year. With that, I shouted out Taliana. I just wanted to make sure that everybody knows that was a statewide recognition, and she is an incredible asset for our West program, for that environmental education, outdoor science education, and it's cool to have excellence in that area on our team. I think I spilled the beans last month, maybe prematurely, but Maggie and our Dignity Health partners, that food pantry program has won a Golden Bell. So as part of our December annual education conference with CSBA, we will be recognizing Maggie and that partnership. Carrie, we got this going on. October 14th, we are opening up the doors in Magnolia. So in the past, we've done a State of Education breakfast, and that was come to our Early Childhood Services Center on Hilltop, and we had partners kind of share out impact stories. Now we are going to just be opening up our doors and having our departments literally holding booths to be able to share out what services look like from Shasta County Office of Education. So October 14th, morning session and evening session, 9 to 11, and then 5 to 7. And the after party is TBD. But it's going to be a great time for us to be able to share out some of the great things that we're doing in partnership across the county. On the excellent front, that's another transportation. That top picture does not scream excellence, but there is amazing things happening. It's just dirt being moved, and it's not necessarily the most exciting picture. I actually didn't want to take pictures of the inside. Our team is working remarkably hard at some of the renovations inside. I just didn't want to spoil it. So eventually, when we get into ribbon cutting and those kinds of conversations, people can be shocked by the before and afters. Tomorrow night, we're back here talking book study in the Power of Moments, and that's going to be for folks that have aspirations to grow and grow in the organization and leadership capacity. So Power of Moments is a great book to be able to have that conversation. Carrie and the communications team is working on our annual report to the community. That is going to be linked up. That is going to be synced up with our open house, and that is a publication that we do each and every year that just highlights the work that comes out of our team. And then I was able to hang out with a couple of cool people representing Shasta County Office of Education at the Shasta College Job Fair. And so, Abby, I heard you mention job fairs and career fairs. I think those are great opportunities for us to try to address that staff shortage. Ayla Tucker, our safety director, has been busy. We talked visitor policy in this place. As a board, you approved our visitor policy. Now, Ayla is working with all of our departments in the implementation of that across our different facilities. We are providing district support in lots of different areas in the realm of safety. We have a safety newsletter that's called the Sandbox that comes out of Ayla's office. Safer School Coalition meetings are scheduled, and then internal, obviously we have internal department and staff support as well. Can't say enough for the work that Ayla is coordinating to keep folks safe. On the safety front, and on the substance use prevention, we are going to have a family night for our program. Shasta County Independent Study in the gym, 4 to 6, is going to be hosting a family event to talk to people about the dangers of substance and how to keep kids safe there. On the success front, STEM Career Day, I think I've mentioned this, but STEM Career Fair is happening November 21st at the Shasta District Fairgrounds. That's all freshmen. All freshmen are invited to that, and all freshmen throughout the region are going to be there. So like 2,000 freshmen hanging out at the fairgrounds. That's going to be exciting. And then we have our CAS public data. I believe that's being released tomorrow. We are seeing significant areas of growth for reading. So we're seeing districts that have kind of jumped all in on the getting reading right in the training with paras and teachers, and we will be able to share out some of that district level and celebrate that, because a whole lot of hard work has gone into that. And then I don't know if you caught KRCR's report with Wendy and Rosemary, but the community school report on attendance and academic growth it's marked difference. Learning Policy Institute came out. I will drop this into the next update, but marked difference for those schools identified in providing those community school resources and levels of support are seeing increases in attendance and academic growth, which is cool to see. Been everywhere. So Darren mentioned peer court visit, Juvenile Justice Coordinating Council, not pictured here, State of the City, Harvest of Hope dinner, one-on-one. I want to thank Claudia for beating the pavement. Her and Wendy have been everywhere trying to meet one-on-one with superintendents across the county. And what's the count? What do you got left? One more. One more in 3 charters. So you can imagine the calendaring and the logistics that have had to happen there. But it is great because we are getting pixels to those needs. And the more input that we have, the more informed our services are going to be, and that's crucial. We actually got an email saying, thank you for really listening. It was like all caps. And it's like, I'm not sure what they thought was happening before, but thank you, Claudia, for really listening. County superintendents, I had an opportunity to meet up with the 57 other county superintendents across the state, and that's just a great opportunity for like, trends and things that are happening across the state and how we might be responsive to that. And again, not every county. I'm not listening to every county. Right? I'm listening to those counties that have our demographics. I'm listening to everyone, but some of those are hitting a little harder because they're more like us. I just want to do a shout out. We have a countywide school nurse community practice that we are holding that space for. One of our nurses is facilitating and leading that, and I just think that that's great because I think a lot of times we have people that do important work, but they're on islands and they don't have an opportunity to connect, even in just a basic Java-like setting. School nurses getting together with other school nurses and talking about best practices is not rocket science, but it really does go a long ways to say, we see you, and getting to real solutions. Big moment, I thought, for Reading Small School District Association set up shop in the Sheraton on Friday, October 3rd, and I think that that's just a nod to us. The person, Yuri Calderon, the executive director of Small School District Association, said Shasta County Office of Education is paying for the dues for every district that qualifies as a small, and that partnership, and there were like some ahs in the crowd. Like there were some districts that are not receiving that level of support, and it felt good to be able to say that we are supporting districts in that way. Arthur, you'd be interested in this. It's interesting. We have almost over 600 kids in various healthcare classes that need placement. as part of their criteria. If it's a CTE class, if it's a Shasta College class, there's clinic, there's hours of experience they need to log. And we're trying to create we're trying to align a system so that the requests don't break the healthcare providing community. Because you can imagine if there's no organization and people are getting bombarded with calls to place a kid here, a kid there, eventually if we don't manage this, healthcare takes their ball and they go home and we don't have these placements for these kids. And they were almost nurses, or they were almost doctors, or they were almost medical assistants, right? So like, how can we streamline that? It was a good conversation. More to come on that. I cannot thank my team enough for the communication support that has come out of our small, mighty communications department. A lot of times Friday at 4:30 in the afternoon, we get a text like, hey, I got a situation and I need some help. And a lot of times 5:30, 6 o'clock, I'm seeing Carrie Schutte at a football game and I'm thanking her for getting that to them in time, right? When you're talking about crisis and you're talking about emergency communication, getting in front of things is so important. And I love the fact that they reach out to Carrie Schutte and say, hey, I need some help. So thank you to our team for that. Math coaching curriculum adoption. I'm excited about the hope and the promise of a math adoption coming up in the support Friday. And thank you to the team. Our Board of Supervisors did put out a request asking for an internal review of our contracts that the Shasta County Office of Education holds with the Shasta County, and we've been able to share that response, and then I think that there's ongoing communication to be able to help answer those questions. I remember we had a public comment a couple months ago just inviting us to be open to the questions, and we are 100% open to the questions and trying to be a responsive partner there. So thank you for that. I know that that's another thing, but Lindsay, you worked on that. Next step on the excellence, I would love to develop that initiative plan and bring it to you to address staff shortage, to continue the conversation that we had on the 24th about board learning areas, identifying those areas where the board would like to learn more, and agendizing those and bringing some amazing people in to talk to us about what to look for when we're looking at budgets, what is differentiated assistance. So the dashboard comes out. So what do we do with these things? So stay tuned for that. Safety, we're finalizing evacuation plans. If you're ever driving around a SCOE building and all of a sudden you see a whole staff walking somewhere, it's hopefully just a drill where we're just practicing and getting ready, just helping with our emergency preparation there, and internally establishing our safety crew leads across SCOE so that there's a network, right? So if you're in transportation, if you're here in this building, if you're over in Magnolia, every department has a point of contact that's part of that safety crew that can be supported. On the successful student programs, we've got that student outcome data that's coming out, and I'm looking forward to sharing that with the superintendents and developing the takeaways. And then in the supportive partnerships, taking that next step with Chiva would be having an MOU with Trinity County. They are currently their authorizer, and I'd love to have an MOU so that we can take over some of that oversight as we look to the school year ending. And that's what's going on.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman.
It seems like a silly question after everything you just gave us, but the October 14th open house, the flyer was different than what's printed on our agendas. I just want to confirm the flyer is probably correct. 9 to 11, 4 to 7 was on the flyer, but on our agenda it's 8:30 to 11:30 and 9:30 to 4:30 to 7:30. Thank you.
And 11, 5 to 7.
Laura?
Yeah, going back to the transportation facility, I haven't heard for a long time about that 7-Eleven committee. Did that happen? Is that still happening, or what's going on with that?
Great question. Austin will help with that.
That is a great question, Laura. So we've had a few delays, which we've talked about in here about the transportation facility in terms of where we would have liked to have been on schedule to get them moved over. Our transportation department is still occupying the facility that we would need to take to the 7-Eleven committee before we could move forward to designate it as surplus and selling it. We are working on putting back together the 7-Eleven committee to convene early next spring so that when the transportation department does move, we would be ready to move forward on those steps. It's actually been beneficial for us because there are a couple of other properties that we're looking at through the 7-Eleven committee. The Bernie lot for ECS, that's a vacant lot that we haven't used in several years, as well as a house that we used to partner with the NPS on out at Old Shasta. And so we will have the 7-Eleven committee coming back this spring, but there hasn't been any urgency around that because our transportation staff is still occupying a building that we'd be designating as surplus. So.
Thank you. I also have a question about the local side that's coming up here. Has the cafe, the ROP cafe, opened yet?
That's a great question. ROP will be providing food.
Thank you. Teresa?
Mike, have you thought of maybe looking into like urgent cares, like the food urgent care for the medical, the CPD students, medical CPD students?
I believe, I believe that we are looking everywhere. So the sentiment that I got specifically, I mean, obviously there's different levels of needs when you're talking about like a high school junior or senior versus a Shasta College that needs clinician hours. But I think that the challenge there is how do we collaborate and not compete? Because if somebody is looking to place and they have a lead somewhere, can we create an environment where people are sharing their, it's almost like sharing your favorite fishing hole, right? Can we get to a place where we're not competing, we're collaborating because everybody has a vested interest in those kids getting placed? I think that there are some interesting, I think that there is some new dirt to dig in that came out of the meeting when we look at like medical spas and we look at some of the things that might be able to also meet some of the needs that are not currently on the radar for placement. I was just shocked at the number. I believe it's 682 students need placement in some way, shape, or form to encourage their healthcare education. And that does strain the system when I know Shasta College revamped the time that they do it to take the pressure a little bit off of the placement. And we also are having conversations about readiness standards, right? Because it's not just, hey, here's a kid. Do they have basic skills that can help streamline the services that that medical provider is providing, or is it a bottleneck in that student being in the program can't do anything, and those are standards that need to be developed and consistent across the program.
Author.
Yeah, a couple of things. It was a great meeting. Going back to the thing we did pass in the consent agenda, I did appreciate the games, 22 or 25. It was good reading. And then the history behind all of it, all to be a proposition and passed along the way. It was a little crazy. And then I always get back to, if we didn't pass that, what would actually happen? It's like, it is a state statute, and it goes from 1979, Proposition 4, Haynes Amendment. Now it's been modified in 1988, and then now again by Proposition 98. So I'm like looking at all that, I'm like, what does that all mean, and what happens if you don't pass it? Because now you have multiple props that have been modified.
Well, and I would just love to, I'd love to compliment my team. We actually, at the next meeting with superintendents in October, later this month, we will have representatives from both Hadwick and Dolly's office meeting with superintendents to get direct feedback from them regarding needed legislation cleanup or perspective or proposed bills. I think California is interesting, right? Because something could be dead, but it's a 2-year cycle. And so just because something didn't make it, it might be in a suspense file, but that can mean that legislature has the ability to pull these things, and we see it again next year, right? So twice a year we will have access to representatives from Dolly and Hadwick's office, once for, hey, what's needed, and then in the spring for like, hey, heads up, we need feedback because there's some crazy proposed legislation that's going to impact schools and we need to hear directly from you. They'll hear from superintendents and then they'll go back to their to their committees, and hopefully those bills will be passed informed by superintendents that are doing the work.
600 kids, I know, with all of our nursing schools, the biggest place it impacts is the hospital. So like we only have 2 in town, but then we have Simpson, Shasta, College of the Siskiyou, Butte, Chico, all competing for open hospital spots. So everybody wants to be in the hospital. Not a lot of people want to be in a skilled nursing facility, but that is where the highest need is as far as like help. And so I think if you partner with the skilled nursing facilities, the older folks that live there light up when they see kids because they don't see them very often and they don't see their own families very often. So it'd be a big impact for the cultural change there. And then as far as like what you said is a burden to the employer to have a student come in, a lot of times I've worked in all sorts of settings. By adding that extra person there, sometimes it is a bottleneck because it slows down services for people that are either paying for by cash or just there because they're sick. So the doctors are sometimes double, triple, or quadruple booking for an hour because they have to see 30 or 50 people in a day to keep the overhead down. So if you insert someone in and now they're getting less than 20 or 30 people a day, you're not making real margins for something in a small business. So it's a little hard to do that, but where I've seen success is if a lot of people are going to AI scribes, but could offer a valuable service if these kids were confident enough to be on a computer in a scribe for the doctor, adding value to the doctor himself. You know, and that way the kid, when we see them in the hospital, whether it's a student or we have this scribe program, they're learning everything with the doctor. They're in the room with the doctor. They're seeing things, you know, for the first time. The doctor's explaining it to the patient and they're understanding about physiology, anatomy, and all that kind of stuff. So it's a valuable tool to the doctor because you're actually adding service. And a lot of these kids can type faster than I can, and they're very equipped at doing that. So I think if that was an option for these 600 kids, because some things are intimidating as far as stepping into a room with a patient, at least you have a mentor with you and an ability to provide them with a service.
I will look. I appreciate that. I appreciate that feedback. I will definitely go back to the group and look at urgency and look at like emergency care and look at skilled nursing. I don't know if skilled nursing is nearly tapped like it could be.
Moving on to item 13 on the agenda is discussion for the board, board reports, correspondence, comments. I'll start it off by saying that the ROT school did not have a board meeting this month, so I have nothing to report out there. Does anybody have anything? Laura?
Yeah, I just wanted to make a pitch for Shasta Reads, which is on October 23rd, and that's when you get to go into student board members can do this too. You get to go into a classroom and read to an elementary school classroom. There's kindergarten, first grade, second grade, lower grades, and I've done it several years, and it's fun. And so I would encourage board members to do it. The sign-up deadline is October 17th.
Thank you, Laura. Anyone else? Seeing nothing, item 14, reminders of upcoming events. Of course, we have the October 14th open house at Skoy. That's at 1644 Magnolia Avenue. On October 23rd. Oh, Lisa, you had a comment? No, go ahead. No, no. Well, that's October 23rd. November 12th, we will have our regular board meeting here. November 17th, it will be a ethics training for board members. Okay, now this is important because you've got a deadline coming up. If you haven't had your ethics training yet, you need to get it. It's mandatory now, so you need to sign up. Now, there's ethics board training here on November 17th. On November 20th at 3:30, the American Indian Advisory Education Series with Judge Abby Avenatti. I have no more information on that.
I'll include that. I'll include the link to the Shasta Reads sign up and information on the education series.
And then coming up in December, from the 1st to the 5th, will be the CSBA Annual Education Conference in Sacramento. I'm just going to let you all know I'm having to cancel my attendance at that event. So I've done so already. Got series of medical tests coming up that want to take. So
If there are cancellations, as promptly as possible so that we're not losing. Sometimes with the registration in the hotels, there's penalties as we get closer to the event. So if there are changes in people's plans, if you could just relay those to Carmen so we can make those changes.
Item 15 is board member meeting feedback on this meeting. Does anybody have any feedback on this meeting? That's the ethics training for board members. I'm sorry? No. Tom?
I believe it's 2 hours of required training every 2 years. And it's a new rule. It's been in place for cities and counties for years, and the legislature just added it for schools.
Arthur?
Sorry, I'm looking. Is that for employees or is that for elected officials?
That's for elected officials. I believe some appointed folks, like members of planning commissions too. So there's some others thrown in there, but for schools, it's school board members.
Does it have to be in person or anything?
There's lots of options. The Fair Political Practice Commission has a slide deck that's free. Law firms like ours have an online training that's nominal cost. This one that's coming on the 17th just happens to be part of the legal consortium, so there won't be any extra cost to participants.
Mike and I took the training when it first became available, and it's fantastic.
I think I was required to do that before I sat on here. Am I right, Carmen? Oh, okay. So I'm good on it?
We'll share what HR required with Tom to make sure that it matches the requirement.
Yeah, it may be that the content you took in was not quite this training. We'll check it out.
Thank you.
Any more meeting feedback? Our next meeting is November 12th, 2025, at 5:30 here at the Shasta County Office of Education, PDC 2985 Innsbruck Drive. And with that, we are adjourned.
So no county committee to lead off next month. In December, we will have a county committee meeting prior to our regular. Oh, sorry, we got
like to call this meeting of the Shasta County Board of Education to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and Ms. Roberts is going to lead us. Item 3 will be approval of the agenda, and I would like to call everybody's attention to item 10.2.1, which is our Whiskeytown Environmental School Agreement. Due to the government shutdown, Josh cannot be with us tonight, so therefore we'll be tabling this to a future meeting. So, other than that, I will accept the motion to approve the agenda.
I move we approve the agenda.
And second.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the agenda for tonight's meeting. Patty?
Aye.
Jacob?
Aye.
Arthur?
Aye.
Jackie?
Aye.
Laura?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Teresa?
Aye.
And I affirm as well. Item 4 is public comment. Public comment for all agenda items and on matters that are not on the agenda but that are within the Shasta County Board of Education jurisdiction will take place during this item. Members of the public are invited to fill out a speaker card and review the speaking to the board handout available at the check-in table. Just a reminder, the board is not allowed by law to take action on matters not on the agenda. Leslie, you're up first.
Tonight, I'm here to be nice. I'm always nice, right? Okay, you guys have a large amount of money to spend. We have